Okay, I didn't expect that to start, but it has started. This is number 4 in the series that I'm doing of reviewing all of my concepts for movies, graphic novels, games. I have 32 or 34 different concepts that I'm reviewing total. That may include 1 or 2 per video. And basically I'm doing this just to get it out there. Just to see if someone picks up on some of these concepts and would like to mature them and would like to talk to me and negotiate with me. And maybe we could work together collaboratively, or maybe I could just sell the idea to someone. So I'm open up to all of that. Okay, for this one we're gonna talk about Blood Moon Freedom. Now, Blood Moon Freedom is a I think it's kind of a basic idea, and it's more about character than it is about anything else. It's a character-driven, but the vehicle of this is a werewolf overcoming their curse of monthly, just the full moon, and also the animalistic part of it. And Blood Moon Freedom, here's the tag. How to get rid of the curse of the werewolf lies in an ancient book found by 2 teenagers shopping in an antique shop. Of course, the old antique shop. And of course, that can be changed. According to the book, there are certain rules that must be obeyed during a blood moon in order to rid themselves of the curse. Things are all fun and games until they start being hunted. Things are all fun and games until they start being hunted, not just by one werewolf, but a whole society of them. The basic idea for the story is that if a werewolf hasn't killed yet and drinks this potion of wolfsbane and other gross stuff found only in some ancient book that someone found in a box of Civil War items at an antique store, this book has several old tonics and teas from the old country of Eastern Europe, which really came from the Roman era, which really came from ancient Egypt, and where they got it, no one knows. I digress. If the werewolf that hasn't killed drinks the potion during a blood moon, which is a full red moon, a full red moon or a red full moon, will be cured of his curse. Now that isn't to say he doesn't have his curse anymore. The wolf part stays, but he will be able to control it without the moon's influence and will stay his own personality even as a wolf. Then, of course, there will be opportunity to have superpowered person, as it were. This could be a video game too, couldn't it? I was thinking animated, character-driven animated, or maybe a novel and movie. Who knows? So where from there? I'll have to think some more. This is what I wrote. Somehow the lives of the people who find the book will have to intersect with the life of the werewolf people. It must appear to be divine intervention. Of course, with all my stories, God must be the good guy and made to look awesome and cool. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about, since that only took a few minutes, I'm going to talk about the next one down the line, and that's Citizen Jane. Well, I'm going to go back to Citizen Jane. I'm going to hop down to Creature Cookbook. Creature Cookbook. What do the fairy folk and the unicorn eat? What do the creatures of the night snack on when they're hungry? This 20 recipe book tells the tales of mythical beasts by what they eat. Although there can be substitutions in some of the recipes, like when dragons eat whole countryside cows from the countryside, they can be replaced with smaller cuts of beef or even vegetables. This is a fun way for the family to unite. Now, I know, I've seen the Hippogriff Cookbook. I had this idea 2, maybe 3 years before I even saw that Hippogriff Cookbook. And so I know in the Hippogriff Cookbook, he says, well, you can replace Hippogriff with turkey or chicken or whatever. Now this will be nothing like that. Basically, this is going to be a narrative of the Green Knight. Let me go ahead and read the treatment. The basic concept of this book is to follow the story of a brave knight and squire. The knight is a girl and the squire is a boy, who travel the countryside in a quest to save a village from starvation. In order to do this, they approach the fairy folk to aid them. The fairy folk say they will aid them after they have eaten. Well, the knight and the squire need to find them first in order to have the fairies help them. So they collect the fairies' recipe and are short on some supplies. At this time, the fairies direct them to the unicorn to help them. The unicorn is just as hungry, so they gather his recipe of what he eats, and they are missing some ingredients. The unicorn tells them that if he can eat and gather enough strength, he will then get the ingredients that they need for the fairy folks. Well, in order to feed the unicorn, they first have to find the griffin. He will find what the unicorn needs. Well, the griffin is just as hungry, and she needs strength and needs to be fed. Well, this goes on for 18 or 19 creatures. Some creatures need to eat, and so there's a big rotating puzzle or chain of people who can all help them find something to eat. Some creatures need to eat some of the other monsters, but not most of the time. The 20th recipe will be what the village eats. The goal is to find a chef or foodie. Yeah, I need to team up with a chef or foodie for that one, and to get those recipes, because I'm not much of a cook at all. However, there was a episode of MASH where they had to do favors for everybody. In order to do a favor for somebody else, they had to do a favor for the first person. And in order to do the favor for the first person, they had to do a favor for the second person. And in order to do the favor for the second person, they had to do a favor for the third person. Well, this is basically what's going on here. And so it's like I said, it's a chain of events. And eventually everybody ends up getting fed. So it's a positive ending. This book basically is for children from the ages of 9 or 10 to maybe 18, somewhere between, maybe 17. I mean, it's for anybody. I mean, anybody. The ingredients will be relatively simple. The recipes can be as simple or as, I mean, they could be increasingly more difficult as the story continues. And so basically, with your parent as a child, you would go through each of these recipes as you read the book. And that's the Creature Cookbook. So those are my two ideas there for Blood Moon Freedom and Creature Cookbook. Now, next, I'm going to talk about Citizen Jane. And I waited on Citizen Jane for, that sun's really a pain in the butt. I'm going to have to close those curtains. Anyways, I waited for Citizen Jane because it's long and complex. So that's the next one. Meanwhile, I'm going to close these curtains.